What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to analyze the tape of tackle Kiran Amegadjie, who came in for Braxton Jones, who ended up going down with a knee injury. And Amegadjie looked actually pretty damn impressive on tape. There's things that he can develop and get better with, but this was the first time we got an extended look at the rookie tackle. And one of the things you're going to notice on tape right away is this guy's fast. He's quick. He's explosive out of his stance. And generally speaking, he had a pretty good game yesterday. And we're going to look at a bunch of this guy's snaps. He did have some losing snaps, which we'll definitely get into as well. But generally speaking, you can see a lot of what this guy showed on tape in college, kind of translating into the NFL. I think one of the things that you'll notice right away if you watch his college tape is he's a fast mover. He's quick with the footwork. He does a really good job being able to mirror guys. And here's a great example of that. So you're going to see him get out of his set here. It's almost like a jump set where he's going to close the distance between him and the defensive end here. He's going to get out there. He's going to get his hands on number 99. And watch number 99 here disengage with Amegadjie to the left hand right there, kind of push forward. But watch the tackle recover and just get right back in front of this. That's a really good job being able to mirror after a guy breaks contact with you. And this is one of the things you'll see over the course of this tape. Amegadjie, to me, does a really, really good job with the movement. Now, of course, that doesn't mean he's a superstar caliber player. He's going to be an all-pro at the end of the season, right? Obviously, he'll have to continue to develop. He'll have to continue to get better, but there's some traits on tape that you can take away from that first game. I think some of the most valuable snaps you'll see from a guy is a true one-on-one opportunity with the defensive line. Not only is there not a tight end over here, the running back is actually over here to the left side of the quarterback. Top of that, you got a 3 technique here, which means Amegadjie has a true one-on-one with that defensive end to his outside shoulder. To me, these are the type of reps you really want to be able to pick out and pick apart. Because if Amegadjie's not able to stick to the defensive end on these type of plays, long-term, he won't have success as a tackle, right? He'll always end up being one of those guys that is not able to have success. But on this one here, you see him do a phenomenal job, right? He does a good job getting his hands on number 6. Keep in mind, this is a quick pass, right? You can see the quarterback here is going to end up taking 1, 2, 3 steps, and then he's going to end up throwing the ball. So it's not a super deep concept, right? He's not taking 5 or 7 drops. But regardless of that, it's a 3rd and 5. It's a true pass rushing situation. And these are the type of snaps you got to look at, right? All right, guys, check this play out. Keep an eye here on the left tackle. He's going to end up stepping the wrong way. And this play is going to end up losing 2 yards. So these are the little things he'll have to clean up. Now, of course, I'm not exactly sure what caused the confusion. I'm not sure if the quarterback back here is making some sort of change, and that confuses the left tackle. Maybe the left guard said something right about here to Amegadjie to kind of let him know what he's supposed to do, and maybe he told him the wrong thing. Not 100% sure, but you guys can clearly see the left tackle here steps down as opposed to out, and to me, that's the wrong thing, right? He should have stepped towards that defensive end. This looks like duo to me. I'm not 100% sure, but it's kind of what it looks like to me. It could be zone as well. But you can see Amegadjie clearly steps the wrong way. All right, so it's just a little thing that needs to be cleaned up. Not a huge deal. It's a rookie in his first ever action. He's going to have losing snaps. In fact, PFF credited Amegadjie with 5 total pressures. I don't 100% agree with all 5 of them. We'll just look at some of them really quickly. This one I think was definitely a losing snap here by Amegadjie. This one ends up obviously leading to a sack. Now, Amegadjie's guy does not get the actual sack, right? Caleb Williams ends up getting out of there, but the left tackle loses on that one, right? That guy clearly should have ultimately been the guy that gets the sack. Regardless of that, to me, you got to do a better job here. Amegadjie's just a second slow out of his snap. You see the ball gets snapped. I'm not sure why the center snaps it when some of these other guys weren't kind of ready either. It almost seems like the right guard here is still trying to tap the center, and the center just snaps the football. And it doesn't seem like those guys are really ready, and I think Amegadjie's not 100% ready either. But regardless of that, he doesn't have to tap anyone. He has to be able to hear the quarterback's cadence. He has to be able to get out of there. And more than that, the contact you make with these speed rushers has to be better. You can't put the left hand out there slightly. You can't put the left hand out there just to put it out there. You need to hit the landmark. If you're going to make contact, you got to make it more aggressively. And on this one, he's going to just get straight up chopped by number 4, the defensive end. And he's going to end up losing. And with that, he's going to end up giving up essentially the pressure, quote-unquote, sack, right? This sack here is on Amegadjie, regardless of if it's his guy that actually gets the sack or not. This one's 100% on him. This one, I don't 100% agree with. I think PFF sometimes just credits people with the sack when it's not really on them. To me, Amegadjie picks his guy up on this one. But because of the fact that you get a guy that essentially blitzes the B gap, you're going to get that pressure and you're going to essentially just sign it to the left tackle. I don't agree with it personally, and I'm not even sure why, these two guys aren't picking up number 4 here. Obviously, I'd assume the slide towards number 54. Maybe the offensive line actually calls something out pre-snap. Not 100% sure exactly what happens, but this doesn't make sense that you slide towards the left and then number 4 here essentially comes unblocked. All right, that doesn't make sense from a protection call. But regardless of that, this pressure is not on Amegadjie. In fact, the guy does a pretty good job, right? He does a pretty good job sticking to number 99. Number 99 is going to end up ripping to the inside. And then with that, the rip isn't really that effective. And then he tries spinning back to the outside. And Amegadjie does a good job just kind of staying on top of it. And then it is a busted play, but the quarterback does end up picking up 5 yards. And this was 2nd and 2, so you get the first down. Now here's another one where Amegadjie is going to end up giving up the pressure. This one's definitely on him, right? This one's definitely on him. You got to do a better job with the left guard, left tackle. Again, always recognize that there's real snaps in the NFL that allow a guy to develop, right? So these are developmental snaps. You got 2 more snaps that we're going to look at. These are the pressures essentially that Amegadjie gave up. This isn't a terrible job, right? You are essentially taught to make these guys go upfield. Is that a pressure? Potentially. But I also think being able to push a guy upfield isn't a bad thing. That too, we got to recognize with this play, you have a ton of help over here to the left side, right? And then on the right side, it's a one-on-one, right? You have to pick up the defensive end. Interesting play nonetheless, right? Maybe it is a pressure on this one. The quarterback ends up getting hit by a different guy. It's an incomplete pass. And this is the final pressure that Amegadjie gave up, right? And again, I just wanted to look at these pressure plays before we ultimately come back and look at some more positive plays. This one, once again, just forcing a guy to go upfield. One of the things I noticed on tape is, Amegadjie, you can tell is not used to the speed of the game, right? He has to still continue to get faster. He has to continue to get quicker. And then the mental aspect of it, right? Like knowing all the adjustment calls, knowing all of the different things that an NFL offense does versus in college, right? At Yale, they're not doing what they're essentially doing in the NFL, right? Interesting rep, however you look at it. I don't know if I would say it's 100% of pressure. But there were definitely some negative snaps. According to PFF, those are some of the negative ones that he had this game. But generally speaking, I felt like he was really, really good. Right now, I want to just continue to go through some of these snaps, continue to look at some of the positive things. This is a really, really, really good snap. So this play here is a true one-on-one between the left tackle as well as the defensive end. Because of that motion right there. Because of the fact that DeAndre Swift ends up going in a motion, there's no tight end over there to this side. There's no running back to chip. And I hope people understand the importance of that concept, because I almost feel like some people don't understand it. When an offensive lineman is in a true one-on-one, that's rare, right? It's honestly very, very rare. It doesn't happen that often. Most offensive linemen, especially tackles, are given chip help. They're given, double team help by a tight end. And to me, it's kind of impressive that Kiran Amegadjie is put into these type of situations. Now, this one does a pretty good job. Look at the contact here. He's not going to lean into it. He mirrors it really, really well. And you see that footwork and movement on display, right? So very, very, very tough matchup to be able to win. I do understand competition-wise, this isn't Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa, right? But regardless of that, it's still a good winning rep for a rookie in his very first ever NFL action. All right, guys, here's another snap that's an interesting snap. Amegadjie has to learn how to snatch properly, right? He has to learn how to break contact. He has to learn how to be able to beat these defensive linemen. Now, this play here doesn't actually go against Amegadjie, believe it or not. Some people are going to say, hey, this is pressure or quarterback hate or whatever. The thing is PFF does a really good job with their ultimate product, and it's the reason why so many teams rely on it. There's scheme things that kind of happen in certain plays. If you look at the quarterback here, he's going to get the ball. He's going to take one step, and the ball should come out. All right, so one-step drop. This means this is a quick throw. The ball needs to come out. And you see the quarterback does not throw the ball. So with that, they're going to not assign this pressure on the left tackle. But I do want to also recognize that this defensive lineman is going to get the left hand into Amegadjie. Amegadjie has to be able to snatch this down. You cannot let guys long arm you back into a quarterback. All right, it's easily the easiest way to be able to beat this by just straight up, hitting that arm, snatching it downwards. And this is one of those things where, Ryan Poles was talking a little bit about this guy earlier this offseason. And when I was listening into him talking about Amegadjie, one of the things that I recognized really quickly was, this is a real developmental guy, right? It's a real developmental process with the guy coming out of Yale. Yes, he has a ton of traits. He has a ton of upside. But there's a lot of developing that needs to happen, right? This guy's probably never been taught how to properly snatch. He's probably never been taught how to properly fork. So there's things that he has to continue to develop. Now, just on the play, generally speaking, the quarterback has to get this ball out. To me, if you guys keep an eye here on the slot wide receiver, I think that's DJ Moore. Don't quote me on that. He's wide open, right? You got to be able to hit this right there. You got to be able to hit this. And the quarterback does look at it, but he also looks at the wide receiver down here, right? To me, he sees the fact that this cornerback is not playing over the top. Although the ball should come out right now, the quarterback's going to roll out of there. He's not going to take that pass. And he wants to go to the wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. And that's understandable. But sometimes you also have to play within structure, right? You have to recognize the actual play concept. Because if you don't, it's going to be an incomplete pass, right? This was 2nd and 7. It ended up being an incomplete pass. As opposed to just picking up the yards here. You'd be looking essentially at like a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 situation if you hit this wide receiver. You put it out in front. There's no way that linebacker makes this play. Regardless of that, not a big deal. Just wanted to point it out. But there is so much upside with a guy like Kiran Amegadjie, and you can just see it on tape. The guy does a really good job moving. He does a really good job getting out there in space. Now, I'm not 100% sure if he's the future at tackle for the Bears, but he looked really good in this very first game that he played in. And I truly think development's a real aspect of being able to get better in the NFL. It's a real part of being able to improve and just fine-tune the technique. And, of course, taking snaps and getting your ass kicked is also another way to improve. Right, you go out there, you get your ass kicked a little bit, you develop in the offseason, you come back in year 2, and you get a lot better. And here's the 56-yard touchdown that DeAndre Swift has. You got to give a big shout out to Kiran Amegadjie on this one. He's going to end up getting out there, making contact with the corner, and he's going to stick with it, right? And to me, this is such a phenomenal job for an offensive tackle to be able to do. You know, these corners are running 4.4 40-yard dashes. Amegadjie's 300-plus pounds. Like, this is not an easy thing to do. You know, these guys move so much differently than people actually recognize. And it's a phenomenal job by Amegadjie. Just look at how fast and look at how quick he is on this one. He gets out of there. And he gets out in front. It's a great job by all the guys down blocking as well. Keep an eye here on the center. Look at this block. Look at this reach on the linebacker. I mean, it doesn't get better than that right there. All right, it's a phenomenal job by the center. And then look at Amegadjie make contact with the corner. He does miss a little bit initially, but he recovers. And he just does a phenomenal job sticking right with it. Right, does a phenomenal job being able to, after you miss, to recover and just get right back on top of it and make contact with this guys. That's a really, really good job. And his legs even kind of take out this second guy here. That's a really, really good job right there. And of course, DeAndre Swift hits this one for a 56-yard touchdown. This play right here changed the game. I know the Bears still ended up losing, unfortunately, on a really, really, really unfortunate play at the end of the game. But I hope people recognize that the Chicago Bears right now are a very, very, very solid team with a rookie quarterback. And they never overlook the fact that Chicago Bears have a rookie at quarterback. The Chicago Bears right now are 4-3. They are a playoff caliber team. You can just see it with this team. And sure, a lot of it's led by the defense doing their thing. But you have a rookie quarterback. It's the most important position in the NFL. And the thing is the Bears are having success still, right? And I know it's not perfect. And I know they're not consistently winning football games. You know, they're not undefeated or whatever, but they're still a winning football team. They're in the playoff hunt. They're probably going to end up making the playoffs. And there are things they need to continue to improve on, of course. But there's so much upside with this group, man. DeAndre Swift has looked really, really good the past couple of weeks. I think the offensive line still has to get fixed up. And I'm not 100% sold on the left tackle yet, all right, especially with the rookie. But there's upside, and you can see that on tape. There's a ton of upside with this kid. He'll have to continue to get better. He'll have to continue to develop, and just try to improve. You know, just try to continue to improve a little bit. That's a really good job on this one. You can see that he's going to end up flipping his hands to the inside. And the defensive lineman ends up falling. So that's a pretty good job. He's getting long-armed on this one. And it doesn't look like a snatch to me. I'm not 100% sure if he accidentally hits the arm as he's trying to bring it back to the inside. But regardless, a good job being able to break the contact and regain the leverage because he's obviously getting pushed back on this one. Right? You see where the defensive end makes contact, and you see him starting to get pushed back 3, 4, 5 yards. And then, of course, he ends up readjusting the hands. The defensive end falls. It's a pretty good rep right there by Amegadjie. Generally speaking, really, really liked what I saw from tape of this guy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, consider subscribing. We will be covering the Chicago Bears as we go forward on this channel. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.